Popeye's Cannibal Curse. The hidden truth. For decades, Popeye the Sailor Man has been a beloved cartoon icon, a rough but kind-hearted sailor who gains superhuman strength by eating a can of spinach. Parents encourage their children to eat vegetables inspired by his example. But what if everything you knew was a lie? What if Popeye's true source of power had nothing to do with spinach? What if the real reason his eyes turned bloodshot, his veins bulged, and his strength exploded was something much, much darker, something human? The first clue was subtle. If you go back and rewatch old episodes, you'll notice something odd. The label on Popeye's spinach can is never completely clear. It's always partially blocked, turned away, or strangely blurred, even in high-definition remasters. Some claimed it was just a stylistic choice. Others, however, weren't so sure, and then one day, someone found the original animation cells. What they saw changed everything. The censored can. It started with an animator's deathbed confession. A former employee of the studios, now in his 80s, revealed that the original animation cells of Popeye's spinach can were completely different from what aired on TV. The can wasn't always labeled spinach, he admitted. The network made us censor it. They told us to blur it out, redraw it, anything but show what was really inside. What was really inside? The interviewer asked. The old man hesitated. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Meat." The interviewer thought he misheard. "Wait, you mean like canned meat?" The old man shook his head. His fingers trembled as he pulled something from a dusty old envelope, a photograph of an original animation cell, unedited before the studio executives forced changes. The label on Popeye's can wasn't green with a spinach leaf. It was dark red. The words printed in faded blocky letters, "Fresh ground human meat." The unedited episode. Years later, a lost Popeye episode was discovered in a forgotten film vault. The reel had no title, just a handwritten label, "Do not air." A group of animation historians obtained the footage and screened it in private. The episode began like any other. Popeye was walking along the docks, humming his signature tune. Suddenly, Bluto appeared, grabbing olive oil and shoving her into a sack. "Help, Popeye!" she screamed. Bluto sneered. "Ain't nobody gonna save you now, Olive." Popeye clenched his fists. His pipe bobbed. He reached into his shirt and pulled out a can. But something was wrong. The label wasn't spinach. It was scratched out. The lid peeled open with a sickening squelch. The contents were dark red, chunky. Popeye grinned too wide. Then, without hesitation, he shoveled the contents into his mouth. The sound was horrible. A mix of chewing, tearing, slurping, like someone eating raw meat with their bare hands. When he looked up again, his eyes were bloodshot. His teeth were sharper. His muscles pulsed unnaturally, veins twitching under his skin. Bluto took one look at him and screamed. Popeye lunged. The rest of the footage was damaged, but the audio survived. It was not a cartoon fight. The historians described it as pure carnage. The sounds of bones snapping, flesh ripping, and Bluto's agonized howls. The episode ended with Popeye standing over what remained of Bluto. He wiped his mouth. Then, turning toward the camera, he winked. The missing animators. After the screening, one of the historians tried to trace the episode's origins. She found old studio records that showed something disturbing. During the 1930s, multiple animators vanished while working on Popeye. No bodies were ever found. The only clue? A stack of unopened spinach cans left on their desks. And when investigators opened one, there was no spinach inside, just teeth. Not animal teeth, human. The case was quietly buried, dismissed as an unsolved mystery. But even years later, whispers of the Popeye curse still spread through underground animation circles. They say that if you watch the unedited episode, something changes inside you. You start to feel hungry, and your cravings become different. The curse lives on. Though the unedited episode has never been officially released, bootleg copies have surfaced online over the years. Most are immediately taken down, but some say that if you search long enough, you might find one. And if you watch it all the way through, something might watch you back. There are reports of people experiencing violent cravings after watching the tape. They wake up at night, hearing chewing sounds from the kitchen, even when no one else is home. One man claimed his teeth started falling out, only to grow back sharper. And then there's the strangest part. Some swear that if you leave a can of spinach in your house after watching the tape, the next morning the label will be scratched off, revealing something else underneath. A single word: meat. And sometimes late at night, you'll hear a familiar raspy voice whispering in your ear, "I yam what I yam, and so are you."